Welcome to our talk, Comprehending Spreadsheets, Which Strategies Do Users Apply at the ICPC Era. We are excited to present you with our study design and preliminary results. Spreadsheets are ubiquitous, but as are spreadsheet headlines, ranging from fraud over bankruptcy to mere errors resulting in relevant political mismanagement. We wanted to improve how end users read and interpret the spreadsheets. However, research is either selectively focused, pure maintenance task related, and sometimes it is just outdated. So we decided to do a broader user study. We were driven by the following research question. Confronted with an unknown spreadsheet, which strategies do users apply to understand the intent and meaning of a spreadsheet? We set out to qualitatively study the approaches in a think aloud experiment. Since we did not want participants to introduce bias with prior domain knowledge, we randomly selected a number of sheets from the Enron user corpus. We then chose 3 spreadsheets that fulfilled adequate size and complexity requirements. That means were not too trivial by containing no formulas, but also solvable in about half an hour to an hour. Participants had only one constraint to fulfill, which was that they should actively be working with spreadsheets in their everyday life. We invited 26 participants of both genders equally, ranging from 18 to 65 years old, with different levels of experience and from different sectors of employment. We then conducted the experiment, in which we handed the previously unknown spreadsheets to the participants. We asked them to think aloud while making sense of the sheet. We did not enforce time restrictions, and commenting was, rather than enforced, just encouraged. Today, we present results from one of the 3 spreadsheets with 8 participants out of the 26 invited. The spreadsheet was a sketchpad calculation about whether and at what rates an investment into a stadium paid off. Transcripts were made for all experiments. They are the basis for the following evaluation. To identify the strategies, a team of 3 raters applied a card sorting approach on randomly selected sentences from the transcripts. In what was at the end 3 iterations, we classified 400 sentences until we could not find new indicators. The 16 different indicators we found described abstract concepts like interpretation, assumption, or incomprehension, but also very concrete ideas such as value, label, or dependency. A sentence can contain 0 or all indicators. The chart shows the frequency of how often the indicators were found in the 8 transcripts. With these indicators, the 3 raters manually labeled the transcripts. Conflicts were discussed until they reached consensus. Here we see a number of exemplary annotations, e.g. in green are realizations about the inner workings like, that's cool, or that's clear that this is. Assumptions in turquoise denote some vague idea about this sheet. In orange we find questions, why is there, or incomprehension, like, I have no idea. With the annotation, we want to leverage the natural order of the labels, e.g. we find sequences like the following. A participant found conflicting information, the contradiction, chose to use help, which aided her to formulate the insight, both realization and consolidation, to then refer to some formula. We then were counting predecessors of interesting indicators, both insights and confusion, by using 5 and 3 as thresholds. We aim at looking further into the past to analyze which indicators occurred before, leading up to an indicator of interest. When analyzing the relative prevalence of comprehension indicators, we could observe recurring sequences. We call them comprehension patterns. The sequence assumption consolidation and assumption realization were very common, occurring in 6 out of 8 experiments. Realizations often were followed by contradictions. However, we also observed more individual patterns, such as formula abstractions, at the end of the table. Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Let's start fastly with questions. So Venera asks you, do you think that the patterns will be very different if people are familiar with the domain?
I think that we will see a different pattern because people tend to basically move along the paths they have in their mind. But what we did was we have 2 different domains, additionally to the ones that we present in the paper. And for that matter, we found that some things are just quite similar. So, for example, if we have a realization and there is some contradiction in basically in the next step, people tend to have misconceptions. So this is something that we basically observed overall the different domains.
Thanks, Karin. Please answer your question to the chat. Next.
Yeah.